picture of what the fruit of Jesus is, abiding in him. You ready?
Ready.
Take me 2 seconds, but listen to this. Lord, I just pray that you would really touch your people with this. A frail black woman, over 70 years old, stands to her feet. Facing her across the room are several white police officers, of one whom Mr. Vanderbroek has just been tried and found guilty and being implicated in the murders of both her son and her husband. Can you picture this, the courtroom? There's officers there. The one's found guilty of murdering her son and her husband, a frail little black woman over 70 years old. A few years before, this police officer, Mr. Vanderbroek, had come to the woman's home and taken her son, shot him at point-blank range, and burned his body on a fire. And when he burned the lady's son, shot him at point-blank range, burned his son in a fire, her son in a fire, then Mr. Vanderbroek and his fellow officers partied. Several years later, he and his cohorts returned and took away her husband. It wasn't bad enough. Can you imagine this? Now they come back at the Frail. They take her husband, and for nearly 2 years she heard nothing, and then Mr. Vanderbroek returned to her house again. She don't know where her husband is. Her son's dead. Mr. Vanderbroek returned and took her to a place beside a river where she was shown her husband. Bound and beaten, this is several years later, but still strong in spirit, lying on a pile of wood. The last words she heard her beloved husband speak as they poured gasoline over his body and set him aflame were, "Father, forgive them." Now the woman stood in front of the courtroom and listened to the confessions offered by Mr. Vanderbroek. Then a member of South Africa's Truth and Reconciliation Commission turned to her and asked, can you see it? Turned to her and asked, "So what do you want? How should justice be delivered?" How should justice be delivered? "I want 3 things, the elderly woman said, calmly but confidently. "I want first to be taken to the place where my husband's body was burned so that I can gather up the dust and give his remains a decent burial." She continued, "My husband and my son were my only family. I want secondly, therefore, for Mr. Vanderbroek to become my son." "My husband and my son were my only family. I want secondly, therefore, for Mr. Vanderbroek to become my son. I would like for him to come twice a month to the ghetto and spend a day with me so that I can pour out on him whatever love I still have remaining in me. Flesh, food." This woman knew Jesus. You try that in your own strength and see how pathetic it will look. And no, she's not done. She's not done, ladies and gentlemen. "I would like for him to come to me twice a month to the ghetto and spend a day with me so I can pour out on him whatever love I still have remaining with me. And finally, I want a 3rd thing. I would like Mr. Vanderbroek to know that I offer him my forgiveness because Jesus Christ died to forgive him." She's not done. She's not done. "This is also the wish of my husband. And I also would ask you that you would I ask someone to kindly come and kindly walk me across to the other side of the courtroom so that I can take Mr. Vanderbroek in my arms and embrace him and let him know that I truly forgive him. And that he is truly forgiven. As the court, and then she did it. As the court assistants came to lead the elderly woman across the room, Mr. Vanderbroek was so overwhelmed he fainted. Woo! When I see that frail black woman, I see the love of Jesus Christ, and it's supernatural. It's fruit. That's impossible. So we can try in our self-effort, we'll never reach the world. Did you see that? I need to know him. And the power of his resurrection, I need to depend on him. My self-effort is pathetic. I can't love you, Emma, like that. It's foolishness to think. I can be very hard on legalism because I know it doesn't work. Do you see that? That's the fruit of the Spirit. It's impossible. Father, thank you for your word. I see the beauty of Jesus in that frail black woman. Continue to show us how to walk in your Spirit. In Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.